Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today I'm going to be talking about Married at First Sight. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. Don't forget to check out my website, lavidarosastyle.com, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Pretty much everybody is in agreement that these episodes are too long and they don't actually put any actual meaty scenes in here, but I'm gonna sift through all the fluff and try to find what's important enough to talk about, because I just don't feel like talking about every single last detail. So first of all, majority of the group got together and they did their little group trip that they've been doing on these past couple of honeymoons on this show. You know, I think it's good that the couples all get to be together and, you know, they're all going through the same experience. So I think this is actually great that they get to, you know, be with other couples. And you know, it might be a little harmful in some ways, because you might be like, well, why we ain't doing what they doing? But other than that, I think it's really good to talk to other couples going through the same thing you're going through. First of all, Meka and Michael did not even show up because they haven't really been on the same page this entire honeymoon. It's actually been very uncomfortable and cringy, so it makes sense that they were not there. I was actually happy they weren't there, just so the group dynamic wouldn't be catered to this awkwardness between this couple, because that would be even more hard to watch. Taylor brought up the conversation of babies and having kids. Zach was like, he don't want to put a timeline on babies, but clearly we know it's just because he doesn't want to be with Mindy. Brandon and Taylor have agreed they wanted 1 or 2, but that doesn't seem like the behavior of someone that's ready to have kids. But nonetheless, yeah, pretty much they had a good time. They jumped in the water. Not much happened there, so let's just move on to the individual couples. So let's start with Jess and Austin. They're just pretty much, everything is going great for them. They've had their relations, and they, you know, it seems to be 5 stars in the relations department. They act like they didn't want to share much with the group, but she showed in my confessing in that confessional. She was very happy with Austin in that confessional. He was just talking about how much he loves the fact that she's a strong woman, and I'm thinking, well, that's because you're looking for someone to replace your mother. I mean, that's just, every time he talks about how strong she is and her qualities, and I just hear how she's clean and he's not, I'm just like, girl, you are gonna be his mother. And I hope she just doesn't mind it. I hope, you know, because I feel like their personalities do mesh. She does seem like more the motherly type. I hope she doesn't mind being that motherly figure to him. I mean, there's a lot of relationships that are like that. There are a lot of relationships where the woman takes on that motherly role and she takes on most of the responsibility. I just hope she's okay with taking on that. But let's move on to Katy and Derek, and they're still on their honeymoon, literally and figuratively. You know, they haven't really experienced each other truly. But the only thing that really stuck out to me with them is the dinner they had right before they left. Katy was like, she needs her own space, and I can really relate to that. I need my own space. I'm an only child, so I'm gonna need a little bit of time where it's just me, myself, and I, and we could discuss things with ourselves, because, you know, I just can't have someone constantly in my space. That's something that really is a turnoff to me, when you can't let me have my space. She said, for example, they've been spending pretty much every moment together on this honeymoon, but when she decided that she wanted to take a shower, and this was gonna be her moment of just finally just me and myself, he jumped in the shower behind her. And I'm sure he thought that was cute or whatever, but you know, he's gonna have to learn that, you know, even these little small moments mean a lot to someone who needs their space sometimes. But I think they're gonna have bigger fish to fry as time goes on. So next I'm gonna talk about Meka and Michael. So they've been in separate rooms this entire trip. Everyone else has got to go on excursions, you know, try new foods, go see the animals, go visit with the locals. They've been in their room. Y'all completely missed out on a free trip and being in a totally new place. I don't know if that's the first time either of them have been to Panama, but you get to be out of the country, and y'all spent it in y'all room. I'm so mad at them. Like, y'all really wasted this trip. Like, even though I'm on Meka's side, if you are gonna still be married to this man, you still want to work it out, you should have gotten over this a little bit quicker. I'm sorry. So, okay, this is what I feel like what happened. After going through all of this and seeing this episode, I think Michael said something and it came out wrong. I don't think he necessarily meant it the way it came out. I think Meka received it the wrong way and called him out on camera. I feel like him being called out on camera probably kind of made him feel some type of way, and just like, well, if you're gonna have your guard up, I'm gonna have my guard up. It was like a tit for tat thing. I do feel like Michael probably does feel like he failed, but I do think he needs to try a little bit harder, and I think Meka needs to be a tiny bit more accepting, because if y'all got over it on this last day, that means y'all could have been over it. And that's why it was so frustrating to me. Even though it was cool to see them actually talking and getting along and having a conversation and they seem to be meshing, it's like y'all wasted y'all whole trip. Y'all could have been did this. But it turns out Pastor Cal told them they need to hang out together and not, necessarily discuss their problems, but just walk around and get to know each other more. Okay, so Michael ends up telling her about the program he runs for students with special needs, and he says he has patience for those students, and he was just talking about all these great qualities he had. I'm just like, Michael, can you lift yourself up even more? Like, he was just saying how all these qualities he had is gonna make him a great husband, but I'm like, you have these great qualities, but you need to actually exhibit them, because I haven't seen patience from you yet. After they had that whole outing together, he asked her how she feels about it, and she said she feels like the attraction is building, and he feels the same way, and you can kind of see that. They kind of really do. Physically, it seems like they are attracted to each other. So they got into how they want their relationship to go whenever they go back home and they move in together, just how they want their day-to-day to be, like some rules they want. And he said that he wants to make sure that they carve out time for each other, because they both have like jobs, and they just want to make sure their schedule, they just want to make sure they make time for each other in their schedule. He said one thing. Meka came back with about 4, 5, 6 things. You need to clean up after yourself. Don't wake her up in the morning, just tiptoe and get dressed in the dark. Most of the bed gonna belong to her. Don't be in your phone when you talking to me. And I'm just like, Meka, dang, we ain't even got home yet. Dang, that's a lot of rules for already. Dang, you could just told me a couple of them. Like, dang. So it's just, that's gonna be interesting to see how he meshes with those rules, because it seems like she's pretty particular about how things go in her home. He kept on making this face while they was out there. Like, I'm just like, Michael, don't get too comfortable, because you seem like you're gonna say the wrong thing any minute now and she's gonna snap on you again. Next, we're gonna talk about Zach and Mindy. He does not listen. Within the first scene, we saw how much he does not listen. Like, she literally said that she loves like a steaming, burning hot shower, and she turns red or whatever. And side note, I know a lot of men say that women like their showers burning hot and they like the devil because of it, and I'm one of those people. I don't like my shower to be hot like that either. Like, yeah, I want it to be hot. I want there to, obviously hot enough for there to be steam, but I don't turn my dial all the way up to the hottest it can go. Like, I don't like the burning hot sensation, because it makes you feel itchy. I'm on y'all side when it comes to that. Like, I don't like them super duper hot showers. I think my skin might be too delicate. But anyway, right after she said that, he was like, well, did you shower today? And at first I thought he was being shady. And maybe he was being shady, because she already didn't take a shower one time and got into bed. So I thought he was being shady about it. But nah, he just don't listen. He keeps on bringing up lack of attraction. I'm keep trying to find attraction. I can't find it. I've never had to search for attraction. I'm just like, oh, you get on my last nerve. He making me feel like that SpongeBob meme. Oh, I'm trying to look for attraction. I actually tweeted that. By the way, follow me on Twitter. I have a new Twitter page, so go follow that. The link is down below. I try to live tweet every Wednesday, so go check it out. So if you want to hear my thoughts sooner, go look at my timeline. Anyway, he just keeps talking about how he's gonna have to find this attraction, how he don't want to force it. It's just like, shut up. Like, it's why are we constantly talking about it? And I know part of that is because Mindy constantly brings it up too. Both of y'all need to quit. Like, I would quit. I would just let this whole experience go, because I'll get to it. They end up going out to eat, and Mindy brings up the fact that he doesn't have his ring on, and how that presents an issue for her, because, you know, even though we're having this attraction problem, y'all keep taking off y'all rings. Like, what is up with all these men taking off their rings? Like, they keep taking them off, and I'm just like, y'all are married. You know, taking off your ring don't mean you're not married no more. Y'all still married regardless of whether you take off this ring or not. So I'm trying to figure out what are y'all trying to say with taking off these rings? He was talking all around the world again, and then they started talking about how things would be once they got back to the States and, you know, moved in together. And he said he wants to basically get away from her, and he said that's because he wants to miss her. But why would you, what he wants to miss her? And then in a roundabout way, he was just like, I need you to help me like you more. And then it was so confusing, because she said right after that, well, do I need to get a boob job? And I'm just like, okay, both of y'all are confusing me so bad. Like, what he said was bad enough, but you bringing up a boob job, what does that have to do with that? Like, was there something cut out of this conversation? It seemed, the editing seemed to be off or out of order or something like that. Like, it was, that whole conversation was off. And maybe it's just because he talks around the world, he talks in circles anyways. So when they got back to the room, they separated. She was crying. He left out, and he had his own little camera recording. And so she decided to call Dr. Viviana. And she was just talking about how he took off his ring, and he doesn't really want her to refer to him as her husband, or refer to this as a marriage or the honeymoon. You know what? I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to let her down easily, but I feel like the best way to let her down the easiest is just leave. Just leave out of this experiment. I know you don't want to be considered a jerk, but you're an even bigger jerk for sticking around with someone you don't care about in order to be on TV. Because why else would you stick around? You don't want to look like the bad guy, Zach, but guess what? In this situation, if you continue on in this situation, you will be the bad guy. I will respect you so much more if you would just leave. Because I don't even feel like you're really trying. I don't get that. I don't get that feeling that you're actually trying to make this work. It seems like you just don't want to look like the bad guy. And that's even more so annoying, and it makes you the bad guy. She basically said attraction is not why they are matched. They are matched by core values. And I'm just like, it would be different if she was with someone who was willing to work past the physicality of it all. But he's so stuck on that. Like, yes, you're not attracted to her physically, but maybe open yourself up to see her personality. Maybe it's something about her personality that possibly you could be attracted to. Because I do believe them when they say they match them according to core values. But if the person is superficial, it really doesn't matter. Unless you match them to somebody else that's superficial as well and as attractive as they want them to be. But that's not what this show is about. This is not The Bachelor. This is not, you know, one of those shows where you're going to be drop dead gorgeous. These are regular people. So, I'm over Zach. I'm over their whole relationship. I feel like they should just break up, because ain't nothing to hold on to at this point. Finally, Brandon and Taylor. Whew. Okay. I'm just going to get through these notes. So at the beginning of this episode, Brandon tells us that he's a very private person and he doesn't let people in, and constantly having cameras on him and people telling him where he can and cannot go, telling him what he can and cannot do, that bothers him. I can relate, because I'm also someone private. That's something I can relate to, even though, like, I have, a platform or whatever. I don't really put too much of my personal business out there because I am private. And having a camera on me constantly probably would bother me, but also that's why I would never sign up for a reality show, because I know that about myself. I would never subject myself or someone else to that, because I know how I can be. And so what I have a problem with is, Brandon, why did you sign up for this show if you knew you were that way? And then we start seeing signs of Brandon not liking the fact that Taylor takes pictures and that she has 13,000 followers. He was kind of making it seem like she was high maintenance, but really it seems like she's more on the chill side, like go with the flow, down for whatever side. You're the one that's really high maintenance, and you got to walk on eggshells because he might snap on me at any moment. Side note, he got sunburnt really bad while they were out in the water or whatever. And I was like, you know what? This is a PSA for black people. We can get sunburnt too. We need to wear sunscreen too. I know a lot of people don't think that. A lot of people laugh at me when I say we need to wear it. We do, because we can also get sunburnt, and we also need to protect this melanin. Okay, there's nothing wrong with taking precautions. So finally we get to the part in the episode where Brandon looks very frustrated. He's snapping on the producer. The main thing I don't like about his attitude towards the producer and the cameraman is that he's being nasty and disrespectful and like pushing the camera. To me, that's disrespectful because that's a very expensive piece of equipment. You're doing all this, you're being nasty, you have this nasty attitude to these people who are just doing their job. Like, these people are, it's not like these are paparazzi that are catching you off guard at the beach and taking a picture of you in a vulnerable moment. This is a show that you signed up for. You signed up to be recorded majority of the time. So recently Iris did a Q&A on her Instagram story, and she was asked about filming or whatever, and she said filming is every day. Like, as soon as you get home, they about to record you. And she was just saying how exhausting it is, and sometimes you do want a break, and they got minimal time off camera without the cameras around. And so I understand that could be very exhausting, especially to someone who's private. But first of all, you signed up for this. You signed this contract, and you agreed to let these people film you majority of the time. I'm sure that is not a surprise to you, and if it is, that's your fault for not, A, doing your research, and 2, not reading your contract. 2, these people following you around, the producer, the cameraman, they didn't do it to you. They didn't force you to do this. They're not trying to invade your privacy. This is what you signed up for, and they're doing their job. They're getting paid just like you. So they said that Brandon pretty much had the entire morning to himself, where they didn't record him and they gave him his space. So Brandon wanted 5 minutes alone. He was trying to get on the camera. The cameraman was trying to follow him. He hitting the camera, being nasty, having a bad attitude. So that's when Taylor tries to come in and calm him down, and she basically was just saying, look, I don't like this side of you, and if you're going to continue to have this side, I don't want to be married to this Brandon. This is the very difficult Brandon. I don't like this difficult Brandon. He basically snatched off his ring and was like, well, you don't have to be in this marriage, and ran off in a tirade, right? Leaving her up there, leaving all of his stuff. He didn't pack up nothing. She had to pack up all his stuff. And so I guess she felt obligated. His stuff would have been right up there in that room. Okay? I would have packed my things and my things alone. All right? So while she's being, I guess, a good wife, packing up all his stuff, he downstairs going off. Like, I mean, cursing people out, dropping F-bombs, all that. Like, and then everybody's just like, what is going on with this nigga? But like, everybody's looking crazy. And then when Taylor got in the car, he cursed her out, and I was like, ho, Taylor, now I understand you trying to keep y'all problems to yourself. You don't want to let the group know about your problems. Any other time, I'd be like, yeah, girl, you doing the right thing. But anytime you snap on me, you going off on me, you cursing me out in front of everybody, do you think I'm finna just sit there and let you do it? He would have to go home in a separate car, because there's no way that bus ain't gonna be blown up. I'm sorry. Yes, they might have to take me to Panamanian jail. I'm sorry. Ain't no way you talking to me like that. Ain't no way you disrespecting me like that. And all of this showed me that Brandon has something going on with him. Now, I don't know if it's like a clinical issue. I don't know if it's a clinical mental issue going on here, or if he's just really spoiled and used to having his way, used to blowing up when he don't get it. I don't know which one it is. It might be both. But something is wrong with Brandon, and he needs to be checked immediately. This is beyond ridiculous. Y'all set her up for failure. I'm sorry. In this situation, I really do feel like Taylor was set up for failure, and I feel like no matter what she does, Brandon is going to have an issue because Brandon has issues. So, that's all I have to say about this episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below. I would love to hear your opinion. Did you agree with me? Did you not agree with me? And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.